It was a dark and stormy night.
John cautiously set foot into the abandoned warehouse with his ripped clothes and muddy socks. He thought to himself, I hope I find something edible in here, or at least some useful items. His stomach rumbled loudly as he walked down the row of empty crates of food. He remembered the good old days before this terrible famine.
As John was walking down the desolate road, he spotted a rusty army jeep coming toward him. Instinctively, he pulled out the bat he found at the warehouse and took aim to him. Suddenly, he felt a sharp prick on his back. The effects were instantaneous. Right before he fell to the ground, he saw other captains and the president with an evil smirk.
2 months ago.
Like 20 seconds.
As all the parents rushed into the supermarkets hoping for just some rations, John was not a part of that group, but he was just hoping to get something for himself. The radio announced,
Hi, and welcome back to Channel 12 News, home of the Droid Show. And today we have a breaking news update. Apparently, just 4 hours ago, from the unexpected weird asteroid that struck Earth, it seems like all crops have decayed. Oh no! I cannot believe it! It turns out all perishable food items have gone to waste, thanks to a new element contained in the meteorite. The scientists have found it and named it Faminite. The only stuff you can eat is canned foods and crackers. Oh my god, I cannot believe all this is happening. It's too much to take. Ah! John pulled into the parking lot hoping for some food. And people were fighting everywhere, and the supermarket
now, after 4 months.
I'm going to read.
Go.
As John was suiting up for the experimental space mission to find food in the solar system, he remembered all the training that he did the past month the president set up. I can't wait.
John's fellow space mates were ready to go too. A few hours later, after all the space preparations, they were ready to go into the spaceship the Earth Union created, mainly by scrap metal. His team was called the FFT, Food Finder Team. They went into the spaceship, and then they stopped. This baby girl was beautiful. His heart skipped a beat and almost forgot that he was hungry. John shook his head and remembered his miserable life before the food famine and the reason for the special space mission.
The blast-off was okay, with some turbulence, but the scariest thing that ever happened to John and his crew.
2, 1, go. Go. The ride evened out though, once they went into orbit, but for a terrible reason. The hero had hit a mini meteor in a meteor shower that blew a hole into the hull. The air escaping from the hole caused a counterforce and stopped the rocket. With time running out, John quickly ran to an escape pod and secured himself. As he was doing this, another meteor struck the ship and sent him into a dizzying spin. A few seconds later, after getting over the dizziness, John hit the escape button. Boop. And was slingshotted away from the ship. John thought to himself, at least now I'll be going towards Earth and back home. Pulling himself back into his chair, he then checked his navigation system on where he was going.
You could hear the scream of the president, even back on Earth.
He was soaring towards Mercury, the planet that was the opposite way if he wanted to go. Along the way, John looked around at the cramped escape pod and found some interesting items. A pull-out bed, weapons locker, rations, and water to last him a week. And a change of clothes his size. Flustered enough by where his mates were, he took a nice long nap.
Nighty-night.
Waking up from his nap, John noticed a red light flashing above the chair. He bolted out of his bed and ran to the console, only to find nothing too unusual. Except if you count out the unfamiliar reddish-gray ball coming closer into view. He looked out the window and saw that his escape pod was beginning to land itself on Mercury. He put it on and grabbed a bat and took some food and water. John opened the door and took his first steps on this unoccupied, hot planet.
Hot out here.
He cautiously looked around this unfamiliar area for any signs of life, or even prey,
Rumble, rumble.
he could find. He walked around, eating a few pieces of the disgusting crackers he got from the pod. John listened carefully and heard some mumbling and chewing. Mumble, mumble, chew, chew. In the distance, and he started sprinting to it. Gasping for air, the atmosphere was a little thin. He approached the sound, and what he saw was breathtaking. A colony of little dinosaurs that looked like big chickens. His stomach rumbled loudly, rumble, rumble, and just remember the taste of chicken that felt like ages ago. He wondered, how do I catch one? Oh yeah, my bat! John crept up to one. Creep, 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 creep. Only to be startled by one that walked up to him and started to talk gibberish. What? John thought, only to be surprised again by hearing the dinosaur say to him, sorry, I just had to change my language to yours. English, right? John just stood there, muttering inaudibly, dumbfounded. He mentally straightened himself up and said, I'm John. Who are you? Oh, I'm Hask of the Haskell. Nice to meet you. Well, do you have anything to eat here?
I'm Han Solo.
John exclaimed. Haskell replied, yeah, we have many delicious items to consume. Like? Haskell happily replied, Groosey, that's grass, mushy pills, mushy pineapples, and best of all, dugamy, juniper tree bark. John almost threw up, but he couldn't. His stomach didn't have enough pow in it. John asked, do you have any meat? All the Hascaraptors wordly shouted, are you mad? We do not eat meat! OMG! Whoa, calm down, Haska. Or at least tell me where you guys sleep so I can sleep there too. Haska replied cautiously, okay, we sleep in that giant cave by that big sand dune. John skeptically walked toward the big cave, but realized it was more hospitable than he thought it would be. There were beds made out of fluffy feathers of a species of birds he has never heard of. The pillow contained the same feathers, but the outside was softer than the bed. John layered down in the comfortable bed for a nap.
Good night.
The other Haskells had a meal of extra crispy, mushy pulls, while John just sadly went to sleep on his empty, starving stomach. Rumble, rumble, grumble. When John woke up in the middle of the night, the rest of the beings were fast asleep. However, John just couldn't go back to sleep over his hunger for food. Then it came to him. Bang! There was a food supply right in front of him for at least a couple of months. All he had to do was cook it. With his bat in hand, he whispered savagely, goodbye, Haskell. 2. Oh my god. Haskell screamed as he scrambled up onto his feet and ran for his life, while all he could hear was bam, bam, bam. John was aiming at him with his bat. As he scrambled behind a tree, Haskell yelled, why are you doing this? John roared back. I need food and I can't keep on eating expired crackers. We can figure this out. Just calm down, John, Haska said. Realizing there was no way to calm John down, right when John turned the corner, Haska double jump kicked John right in the middle of his head, breaking his nose and knocking him out like Chuck Norris does to an opponent. Beak. Although John wasn't down long, in about 10 minutes, he was back up and ready to go for another round. Where did those annoying ducks go? I'm all pumped up, he cursed. He aimed, but he couldn't find them. Soon, he heard a rustle, 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 and he hid quietly while aiming his bats. Haska was slowly walking. Walk, walk, walk. John leaped out of his hiding spot and grabbed Haska's neck in a lock. Please let me live. I give you hospitality and food. Please don't eat me, Haska pleaded. I'm sorry, but I'm too hungry and I only care about myself, John smugly answered. Well, you left me no choice, brother John.
John heard stomping creeping closer and closer. He threw Haska on the floor and hid. Covered in mist was Haska's best friend and protector, Gully. Who caused you trouble? I eliminate them if it is the last thing I do. John couldn't help but laugh. Get your grammar right, creep. You'll need it if you want to go. Haska whispered something into Gully's ear, and they both started giggling. Look at me, Johnny boy, Gully whispered. What do you want, grubby? John started as he turned his head, chuckling to himself at his own joke, only to be hypnotized by Gully's glare of goodness.
Slowly and painstakingly as ever, all of John's bad motives and his fixed mindset disappeared. 10 minutes later, John is lying on the floor unconscious, like a dead tree on a cold day, as his brain tries to get everything right.
Think this will work, eh, buddy? Haska asked Gully. I is always right, exclaimed Gully, as they all settled for a nice long nap.
The next day, John woke up in a spaceship. Where am I? Asked John. Gully replied, coming out of the mist. You on my ship, the Explorer. We explore Mother Universe.
Haska was slowly spying on them to see any change, and there was. John actually didn't laugh at Gully's grammar.
Gully slowly asked, what you want to eat, brother? I'll have whatever you have, dude, John happily exclaimed.
Out of a corner, Haska approached and said to John, Do you remember me? John's face went through a series of expressions. Haska, I'm sorry for being such a meanie. Please forgive me. I will never try to eat your kind again.
Yeah,
After long explanations, they all decided to create a new team called the Hade. Stands for Human Alien Dinosaur Enterprise. Okay, so our team's called the Hade. It's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you ready?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Hold on, what are we doing?
Action. So after a long meal of fried dugami and grusi,
With John separated so he could eat meat, unlike the rest of us, they all set out into the world to save any other beings from peril. Well, before that, John had an idea. Can we demolish the famine that's happening on Earth first?
Action. Gully replied, yes, I have just the right thing.
The Hade flew over Earth, and Gully, with a special concoction called Fax Fixerite, sprayed that all over Earth with it. Soon, all the decayed plant seeds started growing, and the wasted foods became edible.
Gully and Haska gave a hug to John and said, I guess this is bye for you, as John was on his home planet. Are you kidding me? I'm going with you guys to explore. Mother Universe, John explained. Gully happily said that's the way to go, while giving him a high five. So after goodbyes, Haska, Gully, and John blasted off to explore what the universe has left for the team of that weird different species group, the Hade.